Welcome to Immigration Frontlines. Today we are breaking down the Trump's Gold Card program, America's new 5 million fast track to residency. It's bold, controversial, and unlike anything we have seen before. Joining us to explain what it is, how it works, and why it's making waves globally is Dr. Annie Chawla. Annie, thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. The Trump Gold Card program, everybody's talking about it, officially announced in February 25 of this year. And it's bold, it's a controversial initiative that reimagines how the United States engages with ultra high net worth individuals from around the globe. And in a sense, I feel it's a very elite fast track immigration offering permanent residency and eventually a pathway to citizenship for a non refundable contribution of $5 million dollars paid directly to the US Treasury. So let me be very clear. This is not a very traditional investment visa like the EB-5, where applicants are required to invest capital into a business or a project that creates US jobs. No, with this gold card, there is no job creation requirement. We all know about that. There's no regional center involvement. There's no waitlist based on country quotas. Instead, it's very transactional. It's a pay to access model grounded in fiscal strategy. The funds that are going to be collected are earmarked for deficit reduction, which is a priority for the current administration. This program was designed by a task force spearheaded by Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and supported by the fiscal conservatives in Congress. And what's the goal? To tap into global liquidity pools and convert them into sovereign revenue. So just imagine if 100,000 global elites apply, that's $500 billion flowing directly into the federal treasury, which is absolutely enough to finance infrastructure projects, military modernization, or even, chip away at the national debt. So, in my opinion, the program is positioned as both as an economic lever and a geopolitical signal. It sends a message that United States is open for business at the highest levels. And it also reflects a very broader global trend. Countries like, the UAE, Portugal, Malta, even Singapore, they've been offering golden visas or citizenship by investment schemes for years. And the US, however, has always been a very cautious about this approach. This program literally breaks that tradition down, right? But it's also important to acknowledge the controversy that is surrounding the program currently. A lot of critics say that it institutionalizes a two-tier immigration system, one for billionaires and another for everyone else. So supporters argue it's pragmatic, targeted, fiscally responsible. Now, regardless of whatever the stance is that people are taking, the fact remains the same that the Trump Gold Card is now the most premium immigration channel ever offered by the United States.
Well, that's fascinating and absolutely groundbreaking in how unapologetically transactional it is. But as we all know, with high stakes comes high scrutiny, right? Let's pivot the heart of the matter, compliances. What kind of systems are being put in place to ensure that this program doesn't go away of past scandals we have seen under EB-5 or other investors-based routes?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Compliance is the linchpin of the entire Trump Gold Card program. This isn't about collecting large checks. It's about protecting national security, financial integrity, and public trust. So I'm going to break it down into three overarching pillars. Financial transparency, that is one, and security vetting, extremely important, and tax compliance. So, because we are in short of time, I'm going to cover a few aspects today, and then probably in the upcoming podcasts, if I get a chance, I'm going to talk about the other aspects as well. So, at the very top of the compliance structure is a forensic level audit of where the fine 5 million is coming from. We're talking about a full spectrum of financial due diligence that makes EB-5's documentation requirements, look tame by comparison. So, what do applicants really have to submit? That's the first question that any applicant will have. So, here's what I think. The first thing is your 5 years of bank statements from every account that is linked to the origin of funds. Secondly, your personal and corporate tax returns from every tax jurisdiction in which they've operated. Thirdly, your business ownership documents, your shareholder registries, audited financials, and Also any transactional contracts related to the origin of wealth. It could be your sale agreements, investment liquidation documents, or even your inheritance records, right? And finally, you also require bank verification letters attesting to the legitimacy of those transfers and certifying compliance with any AML regulations, anti money laundering regulations, right? So all documents that applicants submit, they have to be certified, they have to be translated, notarized, and submitted both to USCIS and the Department of the Treasury's FinCEN for independent validation. And additionally, private forensic audit firms, you can think of PwC or Deloitte or even Kroll, they are being contracted to conduct parallel investigations using advanced forensic accounting tools. And I'm guessing this is what United States government is going to be doing. But perhaps the most innovative feature is the blockchain audit trail. The US government will use a blockchain based ledger to track funds from the applicant's original account to the Treasury's depository account. This is assumed that they'll be doing this. This is very immutable. Times stamp trail ensures that not a single dollar is routed through shell companies or offshore laundering channels. So if there is even a hint of fraud or corruption anywhere, say a rapid succession of transfers through multiple tax havens, the application is automatically flagged for secondary review, right? FinCEN and the IRS have full authority to subpoena foreign bank data under FATCA and CRS agreements. So it's easy for them to reach out to banks and get your data easily, right? The second aspect, I think, is security and background screening. Very, very crucial in the entire process. The Trump Gold Card vetting process is being described by insiders as a visa fortress in terms of its multi agency, multi layered approach. Every applicant is subject to a very exhaustive background check that includes your police clearance certificates, your fingerprinting, biometric facial scans. It could be terrorist screening database screening against all these databases, OFAC's SDN list, Interpol, Europol, and even UN sanctions list. So they're going to screen you against all these databases. Also, political exposure assessments, through PEP databases and intelligence sharing alliances with countries in the Five Eyes and Egmont group. So all of these background screenings are crucial when so much of money is involved. And for high risk applicants, for example, you talk about a billionaire from a politically unstable region or even with dual citizenship in a sanctioned jurisdiction. Customized risk reports are generated using AI powered due diligence platforms like you can talk about LexisNexis and WorldCheck. So, the program is expected to introduce real time monitoring. That's what is in the news currently. If during the application window an applicant is added to a sanction list or appears in the criminal investigation abroad, the case is immediately frozen pending reassessment. They're going to make sure that your name is not reflecting in that assessment. Okay. And the third thing that I spoke about is tax compliance safeguards. It's a very key concern, and rightfully so, is whether this program could become a tax evasion loophole. But here's where the Trump administration is actually adding teeth. What they've said is that every applicant must sign an IRS declaration of global income, agreeing to full reporting under the US tax law once they become residents. And secondly, of course, disclose all their foreign bank accounts, assets, trusts, their shell corporations under FBAR and FATCA rules. They should submit a preliminary tax simulation conducted by a certified US CPA showing expected US tax liabilities based on current assets and income. And they also, waive confidentiality clauses that would prevent the IRS from collaborating with their home country tax agencies. For example, in India, if somebody wants to talk to the tax department and want to know what your tax accounts are looking like, you need to sign a waiver on that confidentiality, right? So, in certain cases, applicants may even be required to prepay estimated taxes on foreign held assets or income streams to avoid being used as a tax shield, right? Additionally, the IRS is also saying that they will assign dedicated high net worth compliance officers to gold card recipients for ongoing audits, especially during the first years of residence. Yeah, so these are some of the things that they're already anticipating in doing. And there are some other aspects that I would like to talk about in detail.
Sure. But this level of scrutiny is almost unheard of, and rightly so. With the 5 million buy in the US residency on the table, the stakes couldn't be higher. Dr. Chawla, thank you so much for walking us through the Gold Card program and its compliance mechanism with such a depth.
Thank you so much, the team of Gallant and Toole, for having me. And I'll add this, that what we're witnessing currently with the Trump Gold Card program is not just the creation of a new immigration category. We're watching the rollout of a compliance ecosystem designed to withstand global scrutiny. This is, I'll again say, this is not a rubber stamp visa. It's a high stake, high compliance, high visibility program. It's going to define the standards of elite migration for the next decade. And we're just literally scratching the surface right now. So, as I mentioned to you, if I do get the opportunity, I would love to dive deeper into the multi-layered vetting process that applicants and their families must undergo. And that would, again, I'll talk about tax compliance and global financial transparency, how your medical and health screenings will be done. And something that not many people talk about is personal and professional integrity assessments that they might do. And family and derivative beneficiary vetting. That's one aspect we can cover in the next, whenever we chat next. So each of these dimensions, they raise important legal, ethical, and practical questions, and we're committed to unpacking them, one layer at a time for Gallant and Toole. So I'd request everybody to stay with us, and because the Trump Gold Card may be golden, but the compliance behind it is steel reinforced.
Well, that's a wrap for today's deep dive into the Trump Gold Card program, an initiative as ambitious as it is controversial. From billion-dollar fiscal strategy to blockchain-powered compliances, we are clearly entering a new era of elite immigration. A big thank you to Dr. Annie Chawla for guiding us through the core mechanism and oversight framework of this program. And we would love to hear from you. Drop the comments, your thoughts in the comment box, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, stay globally ambitious. Thank you.
Thank you.